Hey, kia ora koutou i te whānau. Welcome back to another edition of Big Hairy News. Looks like we've got a problem on Twitter. Sorry to be a bearer of bad tidings on 1 second. I don't think we're live on Twitter. So if you regularly watch us on Twitter, hopefully you'll go, where are these guys? I'm going to go live one more time. Go live. Where are these guys? Where are these guys? You'll have to hopefully find us on YouTubeage or Facebookage or something like that. I'm going to only try it one more time, then I'm going to stop because I don't want to mess it up. Hey man, how are you?
Good. I'm hoping for a nice, quick 20-minute adventure in and out. No worries. Because it's Monday, right? Nothing happens on a Monday. Nothing at all.
Nothing.
Boring old day.
All.
We didn't pick any fights. People didn't join together in a huge uprising. And there's no news for the lead up to our election. So, yeah. 20 minutes.
Thanks for joining us tonight.
20-minute show.
And the next show is 9 o'clock tomorrow night. We'll catch you then.
Yeah.
See ya.
Yep.
Hooroo.
Bye.
I sometimes look at people's Twitter feed or their Facebook feed, their social media feed, and I'm like, you sad, pathetic pile of crap. 16 or 17 or 42 posts in one day. I'm like, do you have no life? Yeah, I understand now. I understand now. Because probably the first time ever I spent a lot of time on Twitter over the weekend and I had so much fun.
He's not lying, Chad. He's not lying.
Much fun.
I got sent the text message. This is on Saturday. Hey, man, I know you don't like to go on there, but at some stage this weekend, you simply must get on Twitter and have a look at what's happening with Sean Plunket and the BSA. It's fucking brilliant. Can't even swear properly in a text. Funny.
I didn't want to have any bad standards across Twitter. Who knows what could happen from it? So I said funking.
So what does Chewy do? What does Chewy do?
You got stuck. I saw you late last night.
Chewy put on his fucking hazmat suit and jumped into Twitter.
Look,
Gross.
This is going... I know that some people are like, no, I hate Sean Plunket. Do we have to talk about Sean Plunket? Guys, you'll enjoy this. This is so much fun. The hypocrisy, the meltdown, the Sean putting on his big boy pants and trying to be all kind of, like we're happy to say we're on Slop Tube. Like we're nothing special. We'll get down and dirty. It's like Sean tries to get down and dirty and it's just Boomer FM.
Sad.
Like honestly. Sad. It's shocking. So going to have some fun with that tonight. Also going to talk about, we've got Barb Edmonds coming up in a sec talking about the big announcement today. It's not that one. It's not that one. It's the other one. Another one. It's another one. It's not that one. And Barb's coming up in a sec. She's in the waiting room for us right now, so we won't spend too long here. And also wanted to talk a bit about Luxon on ZB. And so whilst we've got Barb here being the spokesperson for finance, we'll probably throw the questions at her about Mr. Luxon as well. So that'll be fun. Judith Collins in the open letter about teachers' unions in Palestine. Yeah.
Dirty politics.
Yeah. Well, look at that. Yeah. Yeah. And there's one other thing which I can't remember. Shall I scare them by showing my tabs, Chewy? Should I scare them by showing them my tabs? Scary. There you go, fun.
Yeah.
Look at those tabs.
Crash computer in 3, 2, 1.
I did worry about that. I did turn on the camera and everything at about 22. Just thought if this crashes, I got to have time to reboot. Whilst we're here, though, huge thanks to all of our patrons. Love you, what you do. You help pay the bills to the podcast and the other podcasts as well that we make. And I want to say, if you are a patron, you might have seen a couple of ideas this weekend for new T-shirts, new merchandisicals. There is a Nala and Ilva one, which one do you like, Chewy? That's we'll call that grey. That's actually black mild. It's not black. It's like a slightly off black, and then there's the rust.
I like that rust. Rust is a good colour. Yeah,
it's sharp, eh? And then we've of course got there's Ilva on the grey. There's Ilva on the black marl, it's called. It's kind of an off black. And there's Ilva on that one. And there's Nala. And there's Nala. And there's Nala. Cool. Excited about these. We've been talking about this for a long time. Now, the thing that's best about this is obviously, I'm sure you're aware of this chat, but those who aren't, we have a T-shirt that's got my face here and Chewy's face there. And so this one's got my dog there and Chewy's dog. It's full circle. It's just full circle. Also, huge thanks to everyone who's been in on the website, actually. Just thought we'd mention you can get to the shop from in there as well. We've still got some stuff going on. We've still got merch coming out. Obviously, with our new enamels and stuff, they're not quite on the page yet. We're just working out exactly how we're going to do it, but they're in-house. So we'll get that all sorted out. And I know lots of you are keen to have a wee look-see at them. Okay, team. Oh, I probably should have said, hey, become a patron and do this. And I don't know. You guys know all that kind of stuff. You're amazing and you've been with us for a long time. So we appreciate it. Just before we do this, and we're not going to leave this up every show like we did last week, because we realize there's probably you guys will get sick of it. But we can put it up now and put the banner up. Yeah, see how that works? And it's a send. Up here, the QR code. If you're watching online, as opposed to hiding behind my couch over there, you're watching online, on a tablet or on a TV or a computer or something, and you've got your phone handy, you can scan that QR code, and that QR code will take you to the New Zealand Podcast Awards page for the listener nominee section. If you want to nominate us, it's Big Hearing News, BHN. The only thing you need to know is where you listen, because it's a podcast. Listen or watch us. So obviously we're on YouTube right now. There's Spotify, there's Apple Podcasts, there's Facebook, there's Twitter as well. Not Twitter tonight, unfortunately. So yeah, if you want to nominate us, if you like the stuff we're doing, if you've always been like, oh, I'd love to be a patron, but we can't really afford it, that's cool. Just enjoy. But this is the way that you can support us, and it helps us kind of open some doors here and there. It's a good thing. So the QR code in the top left-hand corner, that one, or you can go to nzpodcastawards.com/nominate is what it is, in case you're listening to the podcast in your earbuds and you can't see a screen. Right, now I can take that away and I can put that up. This is really slick and smooth and no one sees what we're doing. There we go. All right, so there's been a big announcement. Oh gosh, I have to find Barb's tab of these 300. I think is it that one? No. Yes. Got it first time. Let's welcome to the show the finance spokesperson for Labour. It is only bloody Barbara Edmonds. Kia ora, Barb.
What's up? Kia ora, everybody.
What's up? That's very 90s. It ages us a bit, doesn't it?
Well, it's also a tribute to D'Angelo, who, I'm a 90s, early 2000s
that's
music. So just I want to, I haven't been able to do a speech in the House yet, but loved his music and, rest in peace.
I saw the bass player from Limp Bizkit, 48, passed away as well. I am certainly in the 90s. I traveled between quite serious and hardcore hip-hop. NWA was one of my first albums, 88, 87, and sort of across to the dance scene, into the rap core, new metal scene as well. It's got a beat. I used to love it. Saw Limp Bizkit, A Big Day Out, one of the scariest moments of my life, being in a crowd that lifted me off my feet, moved me back on a 45-degree angle, put me back down on the ground, facing the opposite way. I could do nothing about it. It was quite terrifying. So yeah, thanks Limp Bizkit. Thanks Fred. Yes, that was sad to see over the weekend as well. That 48. No details on what the death was, but too young anyway. Whatever happened. Anywho, Chewy, do you want to talk about someone dying or a favourite music memory while we're here? We've got all the time in the world.
I was just going to say it is always really telling when a musician, especially an influential one, dies, and you see just the effect ripple through the internet of people. Like, both of them were really, really young, but I've seen people going, man, D'Angelo, like, I listened to that a lot in my mid-teens, and that's a really formative time for music, and people sort of going, look, this man had like literally the perfect album, and then he did it again, but he's not one of those ones that had just like a massive mainstream breakthrough. It was just consistently good and influenced so many people. So when it's someone of your generation and they die early, and it's an influential musician or that sort of, or artist in any way, really, it's a gut punch. It's always a gut punch.
Oh, it'll definitely come up on my Spotify most played lists this year. At the end of the year, my Spotify wrap,
I was thinking maybe we just forget the news and we can talk music for the next 20 minutes. I mean, I'm down with that. Anyway, I am slightly joking. I'm kind of not joking, but I kind of am. I think we could do that, Chewy, next time. Maybe next year. Do like a spot with a politician talking music. A pivot.
We've been promising a pivot. Got to change the government first. Got to stay on task.
All right. Then once they're in and their hands are on movies and music. Movie and music reviews. Very good. Hey, Barb, thanks for joining us. I think what we'll do, if you're cool, because we're going to have a look at the 3 news stories. You're in it, so it's always a bit weird doing this, but it's a good way to kind of set the scene for everybody else and for us to bounce off the back of and just understand more about what's going on. So this is the big announcement today. Fair to say the first announcement, the kind of start of a 12-month run up to the election. Is it fair to put that in there? This is number one.
Yeah, absolutely. This is the first step, and the Future Fund is the first step in a wider economic plan. So, it was a big day, and had some really good responses, and so it's the best you can ask for.
Yeah. All right, let's get into it. Let's have a look what the whole thing's about, and then we'll ask you some questions, and then you can tell us again what the whole thing's about.
The Labor Party has released its first major policy ahead of next year's election, calling for an investment fund that could reduce the need for taxes. Labor leader Chris Hipkins announced his party's Future Fund policy, pitching it as a way to grow the economy, pay the bills and build local infrastructure. Political reporter Glenn McConnell was there as Labor kicked off its campaign.
2026, here we come.
Well, kia ora koutou, everybody. It's great to be here, so thank you for joining us for the Labor Party's first significant policy announcement.
Chris Hipkins is officially in campaign mode, out asking voters for his old job back.
We didn't have a politician in there.
Yeah, that's all right. We can go with founder.
His first policy to give a shot in the arm to Kiwi startups.
Today we're announcing the establishment of the New Zealand Future Fund. It will be one of the cornerstone measures of our next Labor government.
Labor wants to put $200 million into an investment fund that could only invest in New Zealand companies and infrastructure.
The super fund does invest offshore. Only about 11 to 18% is invested here in New Zealand.
You guys looking for like any investments in startup media companies and stuff? Just I'm asking for a friend. Any? No.
If it meets the public good and the guardians of the Future Fund believe so, then there are always opportunities there.
Right. Guardians of the Future. That sounds like a movie trilogy. Guardians of the Future Fund. Wow, amazing.
Putting a line in the sand and saying, we want to create the wealth here in New Zealand.
This Hamilton company has invented a tool to help first responders and soldiers insert IV lines. It's a lifesaver.
But really, to commercialise this product globally, we need lots of money.
Overseas, similar state investment funds are making big money. Singapore's 50-year-old investment fund returned more than $13 billion to its government last year.
They started from fairly small, humble beginnings, but have grown over time. With a lot of these funds, it does take quite a while for you to sort of reach that critical mass.
But this will be a uniquely New Zealand fund, by New Zealand for New Zealand, so it won't be modelled exactly on any other fund that exists around the world.
Of course, there is a question there if a business isn't good enough to get lending from the bank, does it deserve to get money from people? But there is a clear concern that keeps coming up from businesses around that access to capital.
Christopher Luxon, not a fan.
If you look at it over the last 3 years, there's anywhere from $600 to $800 million worth of dividends. Well, that money is actually used to pay for health and education. So where's that going to come from?
But Winston Peters is interested in the idea. In fact, he says he came up with it.
Sorry, do you need to take a breath?
Of course.
Barb, Winston's A, interested, and B, taking credit. Are we breathe again. Here we go.
Peters saying this is the Chris Timu Hipkins version of a New Zealand First policy. Hipkins saying he never stole Winston Peters' idea.
That conference, they spent most of it slagging us off instead.
Slagging each other off, posing for photos and meeting babies. Welcome to the start of the election season. We have about a year to go.
Right. Okay. So it's been laid out as a radio clown from Dunedin. I think let's just talk about one business. They can apply to a fund, government money, they can get the money out, and then they return the government a dividend or the fund a dividend. That grows, that gets used to help in places that currently are taxpayer funded infrastructure. Is that real simple, real basic?
Yeah, and reinvesting back in our economy, right? So currently the government's plan to get us out of the doldrums is to rely on foreign investment and speculators. But we're quite clearly saying there's a difference. Labor believes we have the skills, talent, and the ideas here, so we just want to back it. And the Future Fund is one way and our first step to doing that. 200
million, and this is because we're so highfalutin, Barb, doesn't sound like a lot. Is this just like step one, or what's the, I mean, like if you're going to look for, like when I hear about Singapore $13 billion return, I imagine, I'm not saying 200 million is going to do that, but that must be a huge investment to get that. So step one, 200 million, what's the thoughts down the track?
Yeah, so that's the one-off capital injection. And then we're also going to seed the fund with some government-owned assets and commercially viable assets that, their dividend gets reinvested in the fund and reinvested into the public good, which we'll put through legislation. So Temasek, for example, that was referenced in that media article, they grew from 450 million. They had a steel mill, they had a dry cleaner, but the Singaporean government, 30 years ago said, well, we need to create the wealth here in Singapore, so we're going to back them. But there's also different wealth funds across most countries and also in states in Australia. Auckland just got their own future fund. We've got the iwi leaders who are doing their kotahitanga fund. So ultimately, New Zealand doesn't have one that is purpose-built to reinvest in New Zealand. We do have other wealth funds, but they have a different purpose.
So when you say like state-owned enterprises are going kind of into it as well, so you're putting 200 million cash in, and then when you say they're going, so let's think about a gentailer, like a power company that we still own 51% of. How does that actually work? What kind of entity does that look like? Does that mean that basically you're giving / donating / selling the gentailer to this new fund, and then the profits from that gentailer becomes a part of the money to invest back in and help the economy? Can you just unpack it a little bit?
Yeah. So the assets that's transferred into the fund, the Crown still owns the fund. The sole shareholders.
So transferred doesn't mean like it's a paper shuffle. It's a paper sale to the
fund.
New entity. Yeah, gotcha.
And
okay.
also, that'll require legislation as well. In some instances, we haven't said what commercial assets we're going to seed the fund with, and that's for a really good reason. There are commercial sensitivities around different assets. Some are listed, some aren't. There'll be market disclosures, but ultimately, in the same way that the New Zealand Super Fund invests offshore, or that 11 to 18% onshore, we're just saying you have to reinvest the dividends back in New Zealand only.
Okay. So when I said gentailer, I'm not looking to pull something out of you, but that's what we're talking about. Like in New Zealand is partially owned by us, the generation companies are partly owned, but those sorts of entities that we think of, those sorts of assets.
Yeah, commercial entities, and there may be state-owned entities as well, because they're all held in different ways.
I don't know, Chewy, if this feels like about as close as you've ever heard. So let's nationalise it. But you must have some questions for Barb. It's your favourite thing.
I watched the announcement when I got home from work, and I was just like, you've cracked it. This is what we've been talking about, that New Zealand's economy is unproductive because we just trade old houses backwards and forwards, and that's how we grow our wealth. National have identified that we have an unproductive economy and are just completely flummoxed on what to do about it. And here you've found a way to potentially kickstart something with some real legs, some long-term thinking, which again is something that National don't do well, without doing one of my fever dreams, which is just crash the housing economy and see what happens, which would of course piss everybody off. So you found a really good middle ground here, and those examples of the Singaporean fund, there's the Irish wealth fund,
Irish,
and that sort
Scottish, there's plenty of future funds. Canada has some amazing funds as well. I mean, one economist described it to me as being catalytic. It's about catalyzing that innovation and tech in New Zealand. So, we're happy with how this landed. Obviously, there is work that we will continue in government because we need to confirm the assets that we're going to transfer into the fund. But ultimately, this is the first step for us to say, we've got the stuff here. We've got the skills and ideas here. We want to back Kiwis.
Yeah. So my question that I have, and this is kind of, it's not just about this fund, but also the Cullen Fund. And when you come up with a piece of policy, which is like, this is a long-term thing, what do you guys do to safeguard it from, when the wheel turns again and we get national and they look at this big pot of money and they go, well, we'll just smash that piggy bank now, thanks.
From
Muldoon
pulling out of the retirement scheme, from Muldoon.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I really pity that future far-right government who wants to say to New Zealand, we don't believe we should invest in ourselves. So one, obviously, the super fund, that has grown over years, and New Zealand loves it and expects it, to help with super costs in the future. Ultimately, our state-owned enterprises, they're ready for sale, really. But what we're saying is there's an additional barrier to this, which is the legislation, that the investment has to be reinvested in New Zealand, or the dividend. Also the element of the social license for this, we're hearing people say to us up and down the country, my kids want to go on their OE, but the pull to come back to New Zealand is really hard for them. They're looking to Aussie rather than coming back here. Someone has to start this work. Someone has to put that line in the sand and say, well, we're going to back New Zealand, back our kids, provide them with opportunities to stay here at home or come back home.
Why did you feel the need to make this announcement now? I think, and I'm happy to be corrected, but I think that when National had their last run into the election, they didn't start until like February of the year of. And I know everyone's been screaming out, policy, but there's no need for it to be released quite yet. Why have you decided now over closer to Christmas or even the start of next year?
So it's the first step in our wider economic plan, and between now and Christmas, we will be releasing further policies, including the policy that you referenced or inferred.
I don't know what you're talking about. I've got no idea.
But, I travel a lot for work, both in business communities. I was just down in South Auckland on Friday speaking to social service providers. They're constantly saying to me, give us a vision, give us hope, and give us a plan. So we believe that now is the right time to be able to start to pull together that vision and plan, a future made in New Zealand by New Zealanders. So this is the starting point. We've got more to come, but ultimately we think the timing is right, given that the government has no plan and they were elected on the promise to make things better, but it's just gotten worse.
It's perfectly good time to strike now. The iron is hot for people being annoyed about the direction New Zealand's going on when it comes to the economy. Chewy, I'm going to go to Mike Hosking's questions next. Do you want anything else on the nationalising of everything before we move on?
My other comment of what I like about this policy is a little bit more vibes based. We don't hear so much about the investment into our country by ourselves. We mainly hear about overseas investment, and then we find out what that really means. Our banks, Fonterra, all of that sort of stuff. We come up with an idea, someone makes a shitload of money out of it, and it's not us. It's just great to see that to be essentially a linchpin in what Labour is going to campaign on.
It's a real key difference between us and the Nats.
Yeah, 100%. It's great to see.
And so, is your branding going into the next election going to be something like, getting New Zealand back on track? Is that something you could go with? Is that, just thinking?
That is used and dragged through the mud, and we are definitely not going to use that, and we're not going to overpromise like that, because the train has totally derailed.
Speaking of used and dragged through the mud, Mike Hosking. Mike Hosking had Christopher Luxon on this morning, and I'd like your response as the finance spokesperson for Labour, and Chewy, I mean, I'd like to hear from you as well, to do with this broadcaster who got so very, very, very close to asking the right question. It must have gone up to his upper palate and nearly come out and just didn't quite get there. He was talking to Mr. Luxon about, paying public servants more. If only we had the money.
Yeah, but this is where I get I have an element of sympathy here because of your fiscal constraints, what they're arguing over is 1%, 2%, and they're going, well, inflation's 2.7, we're actually going backwards, which is a mathematical fact. Would you pay them more if you had the money?
Yeah, we would. If we were a wealthier economy, like we see in other countries, think about Ireland, twice as wealthy per person as New Zealand, got twice as many teachers, they can pay their people more. But, the irony in here is that it was Labor that actually tripled the debt.
So there's this obvious question. We're all thinking, every single person watching this show, every single one is thinking of the obvious follow-up question.
Made us make $9 billion worth of interest payments, and we've got to make the country wealthier. When we make it wealthier, we can afford better public services as well.
This is the problem. Every time I've had a unionist on this program,
and he's even talked about unions. The unions come on, so Mike's got, because you know what the unions are going to say. They're going to point to our spending, right? So it's on the tip of his tongue.
I asked the inevitable question, which is: we have no money. We have less than no money. Where do you want that money to come from? And their answer is consistent. That is tax people more.
Yeah, well, borrow more, tax more, spend more, right? That's the thing, and
So
that's what's
close.
caused the mess. That's what's caused inflation and interest rates go through the roof and caused suffering for regular working folk in New Zealand.
So apparently the unions come on and in all his magnanimousness, Mike Hosking goes, but where is this money going to come from? And they go, tax is the only answer. Because I think that, I was speaking to Craig Rennie today, and I said to him, the government has removed from our coffers. I don't like saying given away, because some people will go, well, they don't give away, it's our money. So, okay, fine. So we'll just say has removed from the pot of money, for whatever reason, to run this country $17 billion. And Craig, in all his nerdy wonder, goes, 23 billion. So Christopher Luxon is sitting here going, if only we had some more money. Oh, my aching heart. We could maybe pay these nurses 1% more. And we're going, that 1.5 billion that you've given to tobacco companies and those billions of dollars in landlord reimbursements and tax cuts, are we including that? But the question didn't come up, Barb, and I've got some guesses as to why maybe it didn't, but it seems like a missed opportunity. I'd love to get your thoughts on that though, mate. Yeah,
budgets are all about choices. I've said that on this show before, and the government chose where they were going to prioritise their money.
Yeah.
We've seen that with the removal of the digital services tax bill that was on the order paper that had a 500 million tax cut for overseas tech companies. That gave them a tax cut. We saw $2.9 billion of landlords. We've seen the tax cuts over the last 2 years. These are all choices the government makes, including the tobacco company, the HTPs, the subsidies given there. I mean, when I hear Luxon saying borrow, tax, spend more, bro, like you're borrowed more, you're basically disguising taxes as levies and passing the cost on to Kiwis. And you've spent money in areas which I'm pretty sure that's why the doctors, nurses, and the teachers and the healthcare workers are striking, because they've totally prioritised other areas, but not the basic social infrastructure that we need here in New Zealand. So, they can say whatever they like. There is no money there, but actually they've put us in a more worse position. And as a result, board directors get more money, MPs got pay rises, these are all choices.
Yeah. I've got another a clip to play, Cherry, but you got any thoughts around that one first?
I've got so many thoughts around this. First of all, hit the Judith Collins button.
Oh, I can't. It's not loaded up. Keep talking. Pad.
No.
Pad.
Look, if the money needs to be found, then we will find the money. But in Judith Collins' voice. This is the consistent lie. This is the lie that they keep saying. is that the economy is so bad that they don't have enough money, that there's no... We'd love to pay nurses and teachers more. We just simply can't. Look at the moths coming out of the finance budget. It's gone. But yeah, we all know that they have given away billions. We all know that they can find the money if they want to buy helicopters. So it's kind of this thing of like turning around to your mate who really needs the money and going, sorry, man, I'm flush, as you fill up your car.
As you drive away,
right to the fucking brim on your new car. Like, it's just foolish. I saw today, and forgive me, we're going to rip through just some amazing graphs. The excellent musical chairs account on Blue Skies just tore this repeated line apart. Only New Zealand becoming wealthier can we afford to spend more. We're in good company with countries that can afford to spend more. The government spend per capita. Look, only by New Zealand becoming wealthier can we afford to spend more. We're right up here. What is he talking about?
So do you remember a couple of weeks ago I had the mood of the boardroom, and some of the CE comments were really cutting in relation to both MOF and to PM. There was like, cut the political spin and, where's the thought leadership? Yeah, this is a lot of the political spin, right?
So you're saying that people that know numbers because they run businesses can see right through this. They know that they're not hearing this from their people that understand numbers. It's not meant for them. They're going to vote National anyway, 9 times out of 10. But this is going out to the public and just repeating the line, Labor borrowed heaps during COVID. You know that there was free money given out because you all fucking got some. So don't look into comparisons about our debt loading under John Key, our debt loading under Ardern, and our debt loading now. Don't look at that. It's very unkind to the national government. Please don't. Please chat. Don't Google it. Don't go and look for the numbers. It's very, very bad. But they're going to repeat the line because that's what people that aren't going to look at this stuff are going to take with them because they heard it on ZB, they heard it on Hoskins, they heard it on the platform, and unfortunately they're hearing it in our mainstream news as well, completely without any context. They're going to take that to the election, and that's your job, is to break that perception and show it for the absolute farce that it is. It's a big job.
Well, the fact that the finance spokesperson for Labour rated higher than the Minister of Finance and the Prime Minister, we
noticed that. We pointed that out quite strongly.
National losing the boardroom is like Labour losing our unions. This is their base. Yeah. And their base is saying, cut through the crap, give us a plan, give us a vision, because at the moment you keep blaming the other people. Well, actually, Nicola Willis blamed John Key at that particular event, but you're running out of people to blame. People are sick of the excuses. What's the bloody plan?
This flows into the next question quite well, because we're going to have a look at inflation, because one of the things you notice in this, and again, Hosking is so close to asking the right question, because you will hear Hosking actually feed Luxon all the things that Luxon's blaming. But what Hosking doesn't then do is go, when are you going to take some responsibility? He doesn't ask that question, but he lists all the things that Luxon and this government are blaming for where we're at.
What's inflation today, and does it worry you?
Look, it'll be interesting. I mean, it could bounce around. I don't know the number. I haven't been told, but it could be, as you've heard people say, it could be bouncing in and around 3%. What the Reserve Bank of New Zealand looks at and what we sort of look at is what's the medium-term inflation. It's supposed to be 2% next year, which gives them confidence to keep lowering rates. I think there'll be a bit of swings and roundabouts. You're seeing massive growth in red meat prices around the world. Yep. You're seeing, dairy. On the other hand, you've got rents the lowest it's been, I think, since 2011 at the moment.
Yeah, rents are good.
And interest rates coming down. So.
Yeah, but the problem is what you're worried about
And
politically.
council rates are a big part of it too.
Yeah, exactly. So
12.5%.
Exactly. So the council's the problem, the power company's the problem, the insurance company's the problem. And so what do you do about that?
What do you do about that? The question is, Michael, when are you going to take some responsibility? Like, that's the question. This guy wins the broadcasting award every year. That's the question. The power companies, the this, the that, you're blaming all of them all the time. Labor, John Key apparently gets blamed as well. When are you going to take some responsibility? But unfortunately, his vernacular doesn't quite get there.
What's the problem? The power company's the problem, the insurance company's the problem. And so what do you do about that? Because that's the political part of the equation, isn't it?
The biggest part of it is council rates. It's about 12.5%, and you think about inflation running at 2.7 today. So it's a big contributor to it's about, I think, 35 basis points of that is actual council rates. That's why we want to explore council caps, rate caps, because actually to make sure councils are using their balance sheets appropriately.
When you say explore...
I want to get to a conversation we always get to when we hear about capping rates, Barb, which is a little side note. We'll come back. And that's places like Gore that need $300 million to comply with their water infrastructure. So when we cap rates and they need $300 million amongst 6,000 ratepayers, that's $50,000 per ratepayer. So those ratepayers could be paying an additional $5,000 each for the next 10 years on top of what they're paying now to get their infrastructure up to standard. And this government, funded by people, whoever is behind the messaging with Ruth Richardson on Q&A, talking about cap rates now, is going to see this country and our infrastructure and councils go backwards further and further and further. I don't know what's below the third world country, but heading in that direction. It's a bit of a bugbear of ours overall, but you are the spokesperson for finance. I'd love to get your take on inflation today and what you just heard from Mr. Luxon.
Yeah, same thing. Spin. When are you going to take accountability and stop adding to the list of people that you're blaming for actually what is your job? A lot of the inflation pressures that we're getting that are sticky are administered costs. Those are the things that you really hard to avoid and really hard for monetary policy to actually make a dent in. So he talked about energy. Well, they sat on that energy report that was done for them, close to a year. Labor wrote to them, Dr. Megan Woods wrote to them in August and said, let's do a bipartisan strategy. Let's try and, find some areas we agree on to provide certainty. But, I asked Chris Bishop just last week in the House when he was acting Minister of Finance, will his measures or his response to that report bring down energy prices? And he goes, it will bring downward pressure. They've sat on this stuff for way too long. And so that's why you expect this. Also, I'm pretty sure there was a previous Labor government that had an idea about how to deal with water infrastructure.
Sort of a centralized idea where
economies of scale.
where we could maybe help Gore out a little bit if they needed it because we're doing okay, and like we could flick them a couple of bucks, and there was a solution to that. But I don't know, what was there one? I've always said if only there was, but you're saying there was one. I don't remember.
If only there was, and that they hadn't stopped it, and then again taken another 18 months to get their own policy underway. This is the thing with the National Party. They make decisions and choices, pull the handbrake up. Yes, it leads to 20,000 construction sector roles going, but then they blame it on interest rates. And yet it's the government stuff. It's the government spending that is meant to smooth the cycles. Again, more blame game and less accountability, but that seems to be the MO of this government. And if they're going to keep taking that into next year, into next election, people are getting pretty sick of it now. It's only going to get worse for them.
Shuey, anything to finish off?
Yeah, a question for you, Barb. Realistically, how much effect does a government have on interest rates? Like for a trading nation like New Zealand?
So monetary policy does need friends. That's what you hear a lot. And then they say fiscal policy, right? So they say, constrained fiscal spending helps remove demand from the economy, which means, therefore, prices aren't pushed up, for example. However, there's a really good speech that Paul Conway, the Reserve Bank chief economist, talked about last week, I think it was, and talked about the COVID spending and some of the decisions that they had made. There is inflation during COVID. You would have seen what's called tradable inflation coming into New Zealand. That was super high, and that has now balanced. So tradable inflation has come down a bit. But it's this non-tradable stuff, the administered costs. That's where fiscal policy, because monetary policy can't really do the work in that space. They can hike interest rates and remove demand from the construction sector, borrowing, construction sector by the private market. But ultimately, they have to work together to help with the cycle. And what you're seeing with this government is basically, they've brought down, tradable inflation has come down because of international events, but then they're blaming international events for why inflation is up or business uncertainty. So whoever's basically advising the Minister of Finance, she needs to kind of get that story straight of where it is. But ultimately, again, going back to the very beginning, 2023, they campaigned on making things better, but it's only gone worse.
Yep. Hey, it's always a pleasure. When you talk about Mr. Luxon here, and you're kind of mimicking, talking to him, and you go, bro, I just hope you do that in the house one day, bro. I'd be down for that.
I'm definitely reflecting what the communities are saying to me, and that's what they're saying. It's like, bro, what do you mean about this? Like, it's still
save
more
it for the debates. Can you imagine you're debating with Nicola Willis and you just hit her with a bro? I think you'll knock her over.
Oh no, I'd be like uso, which is inside. If you're a boy to another boy, it's uso. So I'd be like uso.
Just before you go, Peter says, love the design aesthetic on the branding for the new things. There you go. Got a thumbs up for the branding. And Gold says, if an idea is a good one, no one should be surprised if others come up with it independently. I take this as Winnie agreeing it's a good idea. Yeah, I mean, that's the interesting thing about actually being a public servant and being someone wanting to feed their own nest. If someone steals your idea and they get it through, why would you be bitching about it? Like it's a good idea. If it was, not saying it is, but if it was. Public servant, maybe. Hey, Barb, fantastic. Now, when are we booking in that time to talk about the CGT? Just so I can put it in the diary, is that? No?
Future announcements will be made in the future before the end of the year. But you know, I will be fronting up to you fellas when that announcement is made.
First day.
You almost got her there,
we want it first. Yeah, nearly. Hey, Barb, thanks, man. It's always good to talk to you. Appreciate you cutting through all the bullshit and just being a part of this and helping us understand what's happening behind the scenes as well.
Good. Oh, all good, and thank you for the platform that you're doing. Not the platform, but the and also to your patrons for supporting you.
Yeah. Thanks, Barb. We'll talk to you next time. All the best.
Cheers, Barb.
A couple other tweets. I need to see tweets. Messages. Citizen Gold. 52 days at most of this farcical government. Kiwi Bird says it's just one of those days when you don't want to wake up. The fiscal plan's fucked. The tax cuts suck. Arvid says
a little bit of a Limp Bizkit reference there. It's a callback.
It's just
come on, Oos.
Do you know what I was thinking about? Donald Trump's photo last week in Time made me think of it. It's like because it's all about the nussy. Anyway.
No.
Although I am going to perhaps burn it. There is a certain particular person we're about to talk about who likes to. It's so funny, eh? He thinks he can play in the dirt, but he's a boomer. His name for me is something like Fat Bitterman, and I don't think we've really ever had a crack at him. And I was going to say to him, he should be careful with that nussy we can see on him. Does he really want this smoke? I mean, does he really want this smoke with that nussy?
I'm not going to go really hard on him because one of the criticisms I had is that he always focuses on you and he's never mentioned me once. Now he has.
You ready, Limp Bizkit? It's all about the nussy. The nussy. The nussy. I'm just saying, if he really wants to go down the path of sort of belittling and looks and stuff, we can go there. We can go there. a comedian and a former improv comedy performer, we can go there. It's not a problem.
I'm not even Sean himself, but it's just always funny to see his supporters. Well, we're talking about Twitter here, but it's always the same insults.
Yeah,
we're fat, we have beards, we're in our mother's basements. It's just, there's not a shred of originality there. And it's just so boring. It's like, yeah, I know I have a beard. The natural callback is here, you're pointing out my beard because you can't grow one.
I didn't know when I was going to share this, but there is, I don't know if you saw this on Twitter. This was going to come up at some point.
I know exactly what you're putting up. I know exactly what you're putting up.
I think it's fucking hilarious. Like, this was put up to mock us. I laughed, man. And the thing that's funniest of all is this person put this out like to mock us. Cool. But they left our QR code just up there so people could still go and vote for us for the New Zealand Radio Awards. You ready? I don't know if this has actually got, has this got any sound? I don't know if it's got any sound. I'll keep it down.
I don't know. I didn't hear any sound.
You ready for this, Fano? Here we go. I honestly, I laughed so hard.
It's so dumb. It's so funny, dumb. It's
so funny. Oh my gosh. And I think I said in their thing, fair play, and then I put a laughing emoji. I don't give a fuck. Like, I don't give a fuck. You're fat. Okay. Yeah. And what, I mean, that's an insult. Like, that's hilarious. I tweeted that out. I tweeted it out. Yeah, I'm really worried about it. It was very funny.
It's a perfect example. It's like, it's lazy because you've got a new AI toy that you're just playing.
Yeah.
You know, fucking AI. Yeah. It's not original. It's not clever. It takes no skill. I just thought absolutely nothing.
I just thought somebody had maybe hack the cameras for the BHN After Dark. That's what I was worried about. Someone's finally got through. It's very funny. All right, let's do this, eh? Let's do this now because, let's just do this. So I put up a tweet over the weekend that I think someone might have a crush on me. First of all, thing to remember is it's just interesting to remember we initiated none of this. Like, we initiated none of this. We reported on the BSA story on Thursday night, and obviously we took the piss and we had a bit of fun and da-da-da-da-da, but we initiated none of this smoke. If Karen had have not responded to it, we wouldn't be talking about this today. But it got so bad for pancake batter, we had to address it tonight. So I'll give you an example. So this is there was, I think, 4 times on Friday that Mr. Plunket directly put me on his Twitter feed. And this is something I put out today. This is important to remember, right? I'll read it from my Twitter feed. There's one thing that's important to remember about this whole Karen Plunket versus the BSA. And I put I don't believe because I don't like doing absolutes. Like, did I hint it somewhere maybe once? I don't think I did. I'm pretty confident saying we didn't, but I put I don't believe just in case. I don't believe at any point if we encouraged anyone to complain about the chat form. I quite like that. I came up with this morning, the chat form. I don't believe at any point we have said the BSA is right here. This is a really important issue. We've never said that the BSA is right. I don't support the BSA in this. All we've said this is a really interesting conversation because much like when they went from horses on the road to cars on the road, a massive change in technology, the road rules weren't fit for purpose and they needed to be redone. And you know what? Someone at one stage would have been the first car on the road to come under the new rules, right? So I don't think this is actually Plunket will get anything from this. Like, I don't think they'll do anything to him. I really don't. But the thing that's amazing about this is the hypocrisy and the meltdown. The hypocrisy is adorable. So I don't believe at any point have we said that BSA is right. I don't believe at any point have we said the BSA has the right to police the internet. What we have done is covered the situation on Thursday night, laughed at Plunket's hypocrisy, and responded to his initial attack against us on Twitter. We also think this is a really interesting case to see if an internet radio station, which is clearly what the chat form is, comes under the BSA or not. And then I thought, people might want to know what I mean. A radio station runs programs 24 hours a day. A radio station has adverts, has news breaks, has weather. A radio station live streams through their own media platform that a listener goes to listen to. Platform does all those things. Newstalk ZB does all those things. Radio New Zealand does all those things other than the advertising. So that's why when you'll hear him saying these, wow, BHN, they're a radio station according to this. No. Because what do you do to listen to us? You look at us on demand on a podcast platform, or you come and see us live at 9 p.m. Monday to Friday. So it's nothing like the same thing. And this is this conversation about radio versus broadcast versus broadcaster. And we get into that as we go through the conversation. So Plunket, this is just a no fix order. You can see this is not a replay or a repeat. Dear Pat Brittenden, where can I lodge a complaint against you under the broadcasting standards regime? My response is just complaining to us, citing what you believe we have breached, what time and date it happened. Happy to take your thoughts. That's what I did for half of the responses. Yep. Happy to take your comments, citing where we have spread disinformation, always prepared to correct errors. Complaints made via the website. Look forward to your detailed analysis. Well, Sean, you first need to send us your specific complaint, why you think we're in breach, citing date and time, contact details on the website. So they're all my responses. This image is Chewy's. This is Chewy's response, just pancake batter. That's Chewy's response. Another one, dear BSA, presume these, you think these two are broadcasters. Really important, that word broadcasters. My response, oh yeah, that's where I said fair play. My response is somewhere. This is Twitter's such a rancid thing. My response is basically, I said yes. Of course we're broadcasters. We are broadcasters. There is no question that we're not broadcasters. Yes, we are broadcasters. I'm not finding my response. It's not coming up. It's being a dick. So I just
allegedly, Platt said.
Allegedly, I did say it. But anyway, I said, yeah. My response to that was yes. Actually, maybe he's done something, because actually what I said was, yes, we are broadcasters like you. What you aren't anymore is a journalist. That was my response to this one, but it was a response to his. He said later on, if you don't like the rubbish on BHN, here's a way to get some satisfaction. And he retweeted, how to do it. And this is something else I did over the weekend, and I don't normally do this. I don't normally play the stats game, or when people kind of questioned our credibility a few times, I put kind of the CV in there a little bit. I don't normally do that, but tonight, so someone says, might improve their viewership. 10 million views from August to August. We're okay with where we're at. No $2 million injection from a trust that washed taxpayers' money either. Just saying. We were having fun. I was having fun, Chewy. It was a lot of fun going on. And here's Chewy's favorite one. Dear BSA, is Pat Brittenden's podcast mate Chewy calling me a cunt in their latest program a breach of broadcast standards?
Look, chat, I just do what I do.
Now, let me give you the response, because there's actually an answer to this. I said, no, it's not, Oliver. The BSA takes into account what is expected from a broadcast, which is why the word fuck might be a breach on, I've put ZB, but think Radio Rema. Might be a breach on Radio Rema, because obviously the audience is not expecting that, whilst not being one on The Rock. And if you've ever watched our show, and we know you're a fan, Karen, calling you a cunt is both expected and accurate. And then happy to follow the process. So Sean's response to this was, flick me your email and the address of your lawyers.
Because he doesn't know how this works.
And I just said again, all contact details on the website, including your lawyers. All contact details are on the website. If you're looking for me to be concerned about you spending more of that cash you're short on, some kind of slap suit, you are both mistaken and demonstrating the hypocrisy that we've mentioned many times, as you're then threatening to do to us what you're bitching about the BSA doing to you. That's our little spat done. But remember what this started off from, calling Chewy calling him a cunt. So then we start going through some of the comments. Suck it up, Buttercup. He's right, though. No, it's the truth. For a guy who likes to dish out dirt, you sure cannot take it when it comes to your way, fragile snowflake much. Honestly, it's not a breach. It is what it is. You are what you are. Does the truth hurt one? This is his Twitter feed, remember? This is his cesspit. This is where he's on. Surely it would be easy just not to be a cunt. Well, he's not wrong. Like, honestly, on and on and on and on and on it went. It was glorious. Chewy, actually, you had a little look. We're going to move into another part, which is him being a broadcaster, not a broadcaster on a radio station, not a radio station. Do you want to have anything to say about the? Honestly, I had so much fun. I used up far too much of my time over the weekend. It'll never happen again, but I had so much fun.
I was good because I don't want to get sucked back into Twitter again. But I'm not a perfect human being, right? I checked, and I got suckered in.
I told you would.
And yeah,
sorry,
Mrs.
Chewy. Sorry, Mrs. Chewy. Sorry, Mrs. Chewy.
Yeah, dear BSA, Pat Britton's podcast mate Chewy calling me a cunt in their latest program of breach of broadcast standards. My reply to him: firstly, it's Chewy, IE on the end. If you think it's in breach, submit a complaint. The email's on the website. But I can tell you it's not slander because you are one, and it's not defamation because everybody knows.
And it would be really funny if anyone, like, for example, if some kind of calling me this and took a place, I would just get his Twitter feed and go, wow, 75% of respondents agree with us. Might not be scientific, but it's societal research. Very funny. So there's two other parts about this. There's more than that, but I'll show you. One is that he straight away went into claiming that he's not a broadcaster. And he eventually settled on, I'm a webcaster, right? That's one of the things. Unfortunately,
it's so lame.
Unfortunately for him, he still has on the platform. Sean Plunket is the founding editor of the platform and an award-winning veteran broadcaster and television presenter. His PR is calling himself a broadcaster. On his Twitter feed on Thursday, it said he was the founder and editor of the platform, 2024, Bill Toft Award winner, broadcaster, journalist, New Zealand. And then on Thursday, it said all those things, and on Friday it was changed to webcaster. Now, people in his comments were defending him, going, he's allowed to be a broadcaster in the past. And it was like, well, why did he change it then? If this was about his past job, why did he change it to webcaster? Which was very, very funny. Chewy, could you do me a favor on your end? Could you go to, I've put it in the chat, I think. There's a link directly to the YouTube platform page, because I think there's also been some washing of the internet being done. And I'll show you why. There was, if you go to the platform homepage, unless it's just gone for me, right up here, like at the top of the homepage, there used to be a video. Does yours have a video on it? It might be stuck in my cache. I'm not sure.
No, I am seeing a video, how to fix our broken media.
Perfect. Okay, so that hasn't been washed. So that's this video here. Now, unfortunately for him, there's two things. This is when the platform started. Remember, not a broadcaster, other than all those things he claimed to be a broadcaster, not a radio station. Have a listen to this 20 seconds. This is part of the reel that they put out at the start of the platform, so 3 or 4 years ago. Oops. Here we go.
If they don't like what you say, you're cancelled. But now there is a place where you can resist, get and share views that are honest and real. It's talk radio. It's honest opinions.
What?
It's
I love
free
the shot
media.
of the office.
It's talk radio.
Oh, what?
Talk radio.
Oh. It's talk radio. Okay. 2 years after that, I think, he did this piece for whatever that group was called, the Common, whatever it is. Have a listen again. See if you can hear something here where then he was claiming they were, and now he's trying to run away from it.
2 years ago, I set up a new online media company called The Platform. It streams talk radio, long-form interviews, and sports even. We publish commentary and opinion pieces from a very wide range of writers. It streams talk radio, long-form interviews, and sports even. It streams talk radio.
Isn't that amazing? Like the two promotional reels, he said it was a radio station. He's trying to run around all over the place right now saying it's not a radio station. I'll let you be the judge. Chewy, there's some stuff you don't know about that I'm going to play now, and you are going to enjoy it. But is there anything you'd like to get on? And I've got some audio from today's show.
I'll save it to the end. I'll save it to the end because RNZ's Media Watch did a really good piece on this where they mentioned us as well as Plunket. Yeah, I don't know the date, but there's some clarification there that the BSA has put out in the past, so none of this should be a surprise.
Okay, so let's go and have a look at some audio. Oh, that's the one I've just played. Sorry. So let's start with this. I've got several clips, so I'll make sure that I get them in the right order. I might not get them in the right order. I'm not very smart. So that's one thing that can be confirmed tonight, Mr. Plunket. So this is from today's show. The BHN is in big trouble. Chewy.
Yeah, well, they're not going after Bomber when he talks about.
Well, isn't it? No, I think Bomber's covered because he's on Watau, which is covered by the BSA. I'll tell you the group, and I'm just thinking of the most irrelevant, crappy online thing.
Yep.
BHN, Big Hairy News.
Yep.
Big Hairy News is a broadcaster. Boy, would they be on decency and factuality.
We are broadcasters, correct. BHN is a broadcaster. That implies the company. And this is the thing with complaints. You complain to the company, the broadcasting company. A broadcasting company is different from a broadcaster. John Campbell is a broadcaster. TVNZ is a broadcasting company.
Wouldn't they have the largest number of complaints against them? Could I suggest that if anyone, Pete, sees anything online from the left they don't like, just write to the BSA and put a complaint in, because they might then just say, oh, we think they're a broadcaster. Just
remember, we at no stage ever have suggested anyone complain about Plunket in this whole process. Just remember that when we go through this.
Pete, I hope...
How does average Joe, let's say average Joe, and I'm just going to try and play this out. How does average Joe complain? Like, say if Bomber or one of the other guys says something, you're like, what a load of rubbish. Who holds them to account?
Well, they can say a load of rubbish. Pete, I hate people who complain.
What? I hate people who complain. Sean Plunket. What? Whilst you're encouraging people to complain. What? Hey, what? I don't understand this, Joey.
Unless they've really been damaged or hurt. Maybe we just all need to build a bridge and get over it, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Just build a bridge and get over it, Chewy. Not everyone was happy with his conversation, though. Like, even some of his people messaging in were saying, like, dude, be a big boy, get over it.
Sean, for a professional, I'm little saddened by your encouragement of your listeners to dob in another show. Oh, is it another show or isn't it? Is it a broadcast or not? I don't know. Sharon,
Yes. I mean, do I have to say this again? It is a broadcast. This is broadcasting. This is a show. I'll say it again. John Campbell is a broadcaster. TVNZ is the broadcasting company. Breakfast is a show. For someone who says he's been working in media for 140 years, if you don't quite understand what is a broadcast versus a broadcaster versus a broadcasting company, then I don't know how successful a broadcaster you ever really were.
I was always told not to lower myself to someone else's level. And I know they called you the C word, but let that go, says Sharon. Sharon, would you let it go if someone called you the C word?
Yes. Yes, Sean, she would. Because she's not a little immature, sniveling, snidey little bitch. All right, this one's a bit longer, and this is probably the most important one that I'm going to play. Remember, again, we have at no stage told anyone to do anything to Plunket. Plunket encourages the people listening to inundate us with complaints. Remember, he doesn't like people who complain, but he's telling his people to inundate us. He doesn't like people who complain, especially if it causes financial loss. What are you trying to do? You're trying to inundate us and have us spend more time doing it. You're trying to do to us what you're bitching about the BSA doing to you. In fact, you're trying to do worse because you had one complaint and you're trying to get your listeners to inundate us. Can we get to the hypocrisy yet? Do we have a hypocrisy button on the cart wall?
Sean, Big Hairy News is the worst show I've ever seen on YouTube.
That means we're the best. That means we're the best of the worst. That means we get the gold medal for the worst show. I'll take it. I'll take it.
Well, their broadcasters, if you don't like Big Hairy News, on their website is an address where you can lay a formal complaint under the Broadcasting Standards Authority with them. Now, how you do this, you go and you look at the codes of broadcasting standards. Balance, accuracy and fairness will get you there most of the time. So just let's inundate Big Hairy News with formal BSA complaints. You've got to cite the area of standards that they've breached. They've got 20 days to get back to you and either uphold your complaint and apologise on air or put it right, or then you can go back to the Broadcasting Standards Authority or go to the Broadcasting Standards Authority and say you're not satisfied. So let's tie up Big Hairy News with BSA complaints. Let's see if
That's interesting why he's having such a crack. Because, like, other than reporting on what happened to him and passing some opinions and then responding to him on Twitter, I'm not saying this like, what have we done to him? Like, what have we done? We have done nothing actively to put anything in or on the platform. He is right now putting us actively, getting people to do to us en masse what he thinks has been done to him. There's some more of this to play to, but you're going to say something?
Just the full 180-degree turnaround of like, yeah, I'm going to be the bigger man and we're going to ignore it and all of that sort of stuff. And then just turn around. And I'm going to say this is unfair on our back office crew.
Love you,
our legions.
Love you, Bree. Love you, Bree. Like that one, Sherry? Love you, Bree.
Oh, thank you. Our legions of unpaid interns that live in the crawl space in Pat's roof that have to answer these BSA complaints. That's really gonna break them, I think.
Well, I think on one thing, we'll get to the end of this clip because actually on one thing he is actually saying that'll be sending us traffic, which is a good thing. We'll get to that in a minute.
you're a broadcaster, shall we? Could I suggest you get into that? You can complain on the grounds of... Oh, I've got it, actually.
Chewy, I hold you responsible for why he's got it. I hold you firmly responsible for this, Chewy.
They called me the C word. So you can complain to them on the grounds of decency. They also gave me no right of...
Did you notice he didn't say accuracy? You can complain on decency, but he didn't say accuracy because he knows. And he gave us no right to reply. Do you notice that he's not actually giving us no right to reply right now? The hypocrisy again, is that kind of coming out?
Reply. So balance and decency, you've got them on.
But not accuracy.
For calling me the C word
but
in
not
their
accuracy.
latest episode. Why not lodge a written complaint with them at their address, which is on their website, Big Hairy News? Oh, God, I know I'm driving so much traffic their way. They've only got about 20 bloody listeners. Should I be doing... Oh, I don't care.
20,000.
They're on the sickness Benny anyway. So you can complain to them. Then they've got 20 days. Let's make life difficult for the wokesters, shall we?
So
what fun. What fun.
Just quietly, this is the other thing about this. And what I love about you guys in this community is when we ask for you to respond to something, let's say it's raising money for maps, it goes off like a robber's dog. Do you want to have a guess how many complaints we got, Chewy? Inundated, driving people to inundate. Sean's audience, he's got the power. Inundated.
I kind of saw where you're going with this, and I jumped into our email account, so I know the answer. It's
one, and I've already responded to it in an incredibly polite return, explaining why it doesn't work. Said to them, happy to hear your thought. Thank you for sharing with me. Thank you for being a part of it. Always happy to hear from people who have genuine concerns. And I send it off. And you know what I'm not doing? I'm not saying the person's name, like Plunket did about his complainer. I'm not broadcasting anything about them. And I'm not going, you fuckwit. We're not part of the BSA, you fuckhead. No, I responded to it. I gave them a response. They may not be happy with the response, but I gave it to them. There's only a couple of things there, fun, I promise. This is some more about what he's planning or attempting to do to us, about tying up our time and stuff. Remember, this is him to his audience.
That's got nothing to do with some lefty complaining to another bunch of lefties at the BSA and tying the platform up in red tape and lawyers forever and a bloody day. Because that's what would happen. That's what they want to do with these procedures and with these bodies. They want to take out the people they philosophically don't agree with.
So he says that this one complainant is trying to take out the people they philosophically disagree with, like it's a bad thing, whilst he's actively holding a campaign to his listeners to take out us, a group, who he philosophically disagrees with. One more thing. And Chewy, if we were going to do a complaint, which we're not, we could do this one. How about a straight out lie, not just by Plunket, by one of his audience as well?
Sean, Big Hairy News have wished for your death. Yeah, I think they've asked for me to die. They have all those so done this to others like Seymour.
What?
Well,
no, I know what it is. When he said, I would rather die on my knees than live on die on my feet than live on my knees. And we repeated that. That's the only thing it can be. So repeating what he said about dying on his feet or on his knees or whichever it was, that'll be the only thing they can point to. So that's inaccurate. That's either a lie or something that needs to be corrected on the record, because that's not true. You want to say something before I push play again?
I even remember you wishing him well after his heart attack.
Did I? What was wrong with me? Was I on drugs or something?
No, we were being just normal human beings. That this internet beef is hilarious, but I would wish death on someone.
And the beef is nearly over.
Where's the proof?
This is the problem now. This beef is over, right? He won't be able to let it go. Now, because he's continued this on, what we have actually done is we have given, when I say given, I don't mean we have delivered or emailed or sent or told, but we've given the BSA more information for them to make a determination. We've found him referring to himself as running a radio station. They probably didn't have that before the complaint, but because he had to have a crack and come back, and I've said this before about other things, you do not want this smoke. You think that you are down and dirty in the gutters with, you are not. You do not want this smoke. Last bit, finish up this bit about him saying that we've wished to his death or something.
You now have, according to the Broadcasting Standards Authority, Big Hairy News are a broadcaster.
No. Big Hairy News is not a broadcaster. And this is the misinformation that's going around. Big Hairy News is not a broadcaster. Big Hairy News is a show. Like Breakfast on TVNZ. Breakfast is not a broadcaster. Big Hairy News is not a broadcaster, and it's not what the BSA has said. This is and I'm going to say misinformation because I'm actually being generous. If he's not 100% clear. BHN is a show. Pat and Chewy, I'm happy to call myself a broadcaster. I do all the time. I say, not journalists. I say, do work in the field of journalism sometimes, do journalistic type work, not a journalist, because I think that comes with qualifications, like a letter after your name. Am a broadcaster, am a commentator, am a YouTuber, whatever else you want to put. But no, they have not decided that Big Hairy News is a broadcaster, because there's no definition anywhere. Even if this show was on mainstream radio, like if there was a weekend show on News Talk ZB, you wouldn't say Big Hairy News is a broadcaster. No, it's a show. Pat and Chewy are broadcasters. As long as you're comfortable with that label, Chewy, I don't care really, one way or the other. But that's what I call myself. Yep. All right. Well, let's just get to the end of this, because he does say one more thing about radio, and I just want to correct the record because it's wrong and it's being spread around like it's right.
The Broadcasting Standards Authority, Big Hairy News, are a broadcaster.
No.
Let's inundate them with official BSA complaints, and let's see how the BSA handles that. Let's see if the BSA sends them a letter. And actually, I'm going to ask the BSA today, I'm going to make a formal question. Is Big Hairy News a broadcaster?
No, it's a show.
Looks like a radio station.
No, it doesn't.
What do you reckon,
No, it
BSA?
doesn't.
What do you reckon?
And this is what he's saying. And you're seeing around, I was going to say the Motu, the internet Motu, around the internet, Oh, they're going to regulate everything on the internet. They're going to regulate Twitter. And actually, go and look at Paul Barlow. Paul Barlow does a good clip on this already, explaining that they've already stated, the BSA has already stated things like Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, YouTube do not come under the BSA. What they're saying is the platform, Reality Check Radio, will be the same. That's why they're in solidarity with the platform right now. Looks and feels like a radio station, as I said at the start. They have 24 hours of programming. They have adverts. They have weather and news at the top of the hour. They have call-ins. Now, in and of themselves, any of those one things doesn't mean broadcaster, but when you put them all together, they look like, they feel like, they operate like a radio station. On top of that, Sean Plunket himself, up until about last Thursday, talked about doing talkback radio. So the huge difference is this is not a threat to your TikTok account or to your the comments and through. From here on in, every political party is going to be a broadcaster because they do live streams. No.
Oh
no.
God.
We don't look like a radio station. We look like if I wanted to be generous, we look like if you're watching us on YouTube, we look like a television show. You could say that. We don't look like a broadcaster. Broadcasters don't look like this, Chewy. Maybe should I show that video again of us taking our tops off? That's not what broadcasters look like. Okay, I'm done, sir. I know that took a long time, but it was well worth it. It was well worth it, at least for no one else but for me. Numbers haven't dropped, so you guys, all 20 of you, you said 20, we got 20.
Like, we really covered ourselves in, it's not glory, covered ourselves in something talking about this. The reason that we've latched onto it is it's hilarious. And Sean's just a terrible person. Just a dreadful, dreadful person.
Can I just say one thing? Sorry, I just want one thing because I'm just bouncing off what you've said. Keep your thought, because my wife looked at me today and she basically said, "Are you enjoying this a bit much?" And I'm like, "Yeah, probably." Yes. But I said to her, "You know what? This is us putting a bully in their place. He's a fucking bully. He's a bad man when it comes to broadcasting and information dissemination. And this is and the worst thing an authoritarian bully." The worst thing they hate, is that the right way? Double negative? The thing they hate most of all is being mocked. This is us putting him in his place. Now, he might hear this and go, "Oh, you didn't put me in my place." No. This is us putting him in his place. That's why that Twitter feed where he complained about Chewy calling me a cunt, 3/4 of the response was going, "Yeah, because you're a cunt." So let's not get it twisted. Yes, if you're watching, sweetheart, I probably am enjoying this a little bit too much. But on the grander scheme of things, this is us kicking a bully in the nuts. Honestly, it's just like, and Plunket, if you continue this on, mate, there's more. There's more.
Yeah, who's punching up? Here, it's us.
Well, we might be punching down. Who knows, really?
On RNZ's website, the Media Watch post that they did yesterday, I believe, covered it off really well. 2019. BSA sent out a letter to broadcasters. And in it, they say programs that are transmitted online in a linear form, i.e. playing continuously, are broadcasting and not on demand. So we don't broadcast continuously.
Correct.
Couple of hours every night. Programs that are live streamed by a company over the internet for reception by the general public in New Zealand fall within the definition of a broadcast. Examples that they cited at the time were Music Channel, Edge TV, and subscription service Spark Sport. But the platform, which launched in 2021, would also meet those definitions. Yeah. At the time, the BSA says the Act does not apply to content provided purely on demand. User-generated content placed on platforms like YouTube or Facebook could not be considered broadcasting, subject to their oversight, and neither would podcasts available for download online. Like that seems really clear to me. And like, rather than it being an attack on democracy and free speech, and I'm going to fight them on the beaches and on the landing fields, and this is our Independence Day and all of that. Like, we're commenting on it because it's an interesting conversation that involves us as broadcasters.
It's a really interesting conversation. The actual the summation of the actual thing is about, does these broadcasting standards apply in a new way, just like the road rules changed when you went from horses to cars? It's actually a really interesting conversation. Remember, we said last thing, two things can be true. It's going to be a really interesting conversation that needs to be adjudicated, probably by a government level, and he can be a whinging crybaby bitch who's overplaying his hand. Those two things can be true.
And let's be really clear here, because when I trained in broadcasting and radio, one of the things that had recently happened is someone lodged a BSA complaint against Mikey Havoc and Newsboy.
Sounds about right.
This is going back to the late 90s, early 2000s. But they did a piece that besmirched Gore's reputation.
Oh, my God.
Gay man's rock, dirty, gay old Gore.
I remember that.
Who remembers that? If you don't, it's on YouTube. Go and look it up. But someone put through a BSA complaint about that. And basically the response came back. Everybody knows what Mikey Havoc's show is about. It's about irreverent, ironic humour. It's crass. You don't accidentally stumble into this. And in the time slot that it was on, people know what they're going to get. And this is why, as Pat has mentioned, The Rock might be able to get away with more shit talking, different language, being irreverent than a different outlet would. So our running jokes with Oliver, I look, if there's a legitimate complaint in there, we'll take them. I've seen the complaint that's come in, the one complaint that came in.
The thing that's best about that is they watched that episode so closely. So we got another view out of it, and they watched it so closely. And they said things like, I'm not going to highlight it. They said things like, talked about there being a genocide with no evidence. It's not balanced. And it's like, oh, okay, thank you.
Yeah. And again, what has crushed me about that is it's actually about Emily and Magenta, not us.
Yeah,
so we're not going hard enough on the Israelis, who are definitely doing a great big obvious genocide.
Oh gosh!
Apparently, I should cite my sources.
Yeah, I think the sources for that are the dead bodies under the rubble still to this day. I think, and the killing of everything green, so nothing can grow there. There's two sources, two sides.
They blew up a literal bus full of children yesterday.
Yeah, it's back on. Didn't we say last week? Extreme.
Why aren't you celebrating Trump's peace? The Trump's peace. Yeah. Why aren't you saying anything about it? Wait and see.
We'll pick that up tomorrow.
Not even 12 hours.
We'll pick that up tomorrow. It's much more important than what we're talking about, but we'll pick it up tomorrow.
But anyway, like a bowl of pancake batter left out on the bench in the sun too long.
So here's what I would like.
Just glad wrap it.
Here's what I would like. I would like an honest conversation. If you're someone who's here tonight because of Plunket and you want to have a crack, this will be a highlight tomorrow. It'll be on YouTube as a highlight. Play this to some of your platform friends and find the holes in our argument. I mean, yeah, we've been a bit crass and a bit rude and a bit dirty and a bit smutty, and sure, but the actual substance of what we've said, tell us our holes. That sounds a bit rude. Oh, tell us where we're wrong.
Like that.
No, neither do I. I went back.
I tuned into Big Hairy News at 10:25 p.m. on Monday, and they were talking about their holes. Fair taste and decency.
Webcaster, I do find that hilarious when he was talking about being called a cunt. At no point did he think that he should probably say accuracy. He never said that. So,
but I'm not a cunt.
Who knows? Webcaster, does he mean Spider-Man? Wooming says Oliver is so triggered and it's yeah, it is glorious. And look, I do know, don't panic. I do know we can't do this every night. But I guess what I'm saying to Karen, you don't want this, honestly. Yeah, you know what? We've actually been really reserved over the last 18 months to 2 years. We've pointed out some things, but we haven't gone there. This weekend we went there. And that might sound arrogant and blah, 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 but it's true. This weekend we went there, and we can keep, well, maybe not on the show. You've had enough fun. Oh, I get it. But
is it fair to say that he's our nemesis?
I mean, to be honest, when you said we're punching up, I mean, they're much bigger than us. I mean, I listened to a thing
He's got
today.
he got more money as well.
Well, I listened to a thing today between two lawyers. Someone sent me a link of how to get on Platform Plus. I'll send it to you if you want. And that's where I got that footage from. And there was lawyers on today, and he was like, yep, Platform takes in more than $500,000 a year. So, I mean, like, they've got a huge expense as well. So, but they're bigger than, there's no question, they're bigger than us, that kind of stuff. And so on some level, yeah, we're punching up, but it just feels like the quality of their content, we're punching down. That's just me, though. It just really,
they've still got that fucking backwards desk that annoys me.
Oliver is so triggered, and it's glorious, says Wooming. Any thong to cover Plunket's nussy. That's what I'm saying. I can go more immature. I've got layers to still dig down if he keeps going. You don't want it, but I have. Eddie's interesting. Hey, Eddie. Sean's little war against BHN has gained you a new patron. Oh,
welcome.
Sean's audience is extremely dim and won't give him money. Best of both worlds. By the way, I see him around Welly. His gut is grotesque. Yuck. Eddie, we need to get you some merch then. And when you see him around Wellington, go see if you can get a photo with him. That would be glorious. A photo of you and your BHN top and Sean Plunket. That would be my new profile pic. We got that done. But thank you. Hey, look, genuinely appreciate it. Genuinely appreciate patronage. We don't take any of that for granted. It's amazing. Thank you. Someone also put in the chat thing about, he was talking about me being on the benefit. There was a caller that called in and said that Pat has said he's on the sickness benefit. No, Pat hasn't. No, Pat hasn't said that at any stage, because that's not true. But this is what they do when they lose the argument. And you could say this about us. And like, I just think that we're smutty, but they actually lose the argument and they go to personal attacks. We go to personal attacks and then we win the argument. That's the difference with the left and the right. But yeah, look, I get it. We're pretty much done with him. I mean, we could just ignore him even more and go back to when it's in the news and valid, but you know. Okay, Chewy, anything else, or should we go to our last story, which is the one you were most excited about, to do with Palestine and Judith Collins?
Yeah, let's roll on.
I was gonna we were gonna have a look at the no Kings as well, but we've kind of ran out of time with him. Yeah, Sean, put him away. Sean and his
put Sean away.
The nussy. So you can get me a cookie and stick it up my. Sorry, oh, that was the radio edit though, because I took away the rude words. Okay, Melissa Stokes talking about. This is from last night's news, but I thought it's still coming up today. They actually asked Luxon about it today, and he, of course, played it off as it's just political. It's all political. I do think they talk about the union thing being all political. Part of me, I'm not part of the union, so I don't know, but part of me goes, yeah, it's working with the government trying to get a better deal. Is it not obvious it's political?
Here's the first thing that went through my brain like a fucking spike when I heard that comment, that it's all political. Was cutting so many public servants for political reasons political?
Yeah.
Was not giving these guys a pay cut, a pay rise to even keep pace with inflation? Was that not a political decision?
No.
Politics is in all of this. And it also shows that they don't understand what unions are. They put this thing out that the unions are somehow separate from the workers they represent. The union is the workers they represent.
Yeah.
You dumb fuck.
Yeah. All right. Let's have a look at this. Let's have a look at this.
The country is simply not earning enough to meet all these calls. That from Judith Collins ahead of Thursday's mega strike.
Oh, Joey. Oh, shit, Joey. Judith Collins says the country's not earning enough.
Look.
Oh, where did that stop?
Look.
Oh.
Look.
My board's just frozen up. I'll come back to it.
When tens of thousands of workers are expected to walk off the job. The Public Service Minister writing an open letter to the people of New Zealand saying the government regrets the impact on patients, students and families.
But not on
could
the
have done
nurses.
something about it.
But not on the nurses, doctors and teachers. Notice that? Don't give a fuck about them, do they? I think that's
we could have done something about this, but we haven't. We're very sorry.
Yeah.
Trigger reports.
Unfair and unwarranted. That's how the Public Service Minister is describing the multi-sector mega strike planned for Thursday.
It will hurt the people who need help, so it'll hurt kids, particularly those who have missed out on because of COVID lockdowns.
Such a liar!
We just want to keep saying this again. Will another day off, which I don't think anyone thinks is a good idea, but will another day off from school kids, or an operation having to be put back a day, a week, a month, whatever, several hundred times, will that hurt the public more? Or the understaffing of hospitals by half for the rest of the year? Which do you think is more of a danger to looking after patients? The massive understaffing, the massive overworking, the exhausting and tiring people out not for a fair wage, or having to do their appointment on next Tuesday rather than this Friday? Thursday, technically, I just made up a day. Which is more of a concern? I know where I'd vote.
Education time, but it also hurt people who need operations and people who are already suffering.
Her open letter to those affected misses the point, according to the Public Service Association, and has been labelled divisive by the Council of Trade Unions.
She's trying to drive a wedge between people and to call into question a very legitimate right for workers to stand up and say, we want better.
The minister claims the strike is politically motivated.
The fact that it's all joined up together, the fact that the public service wages have gone up 2.8% an average over the last year, and yet the private sector has gone 2.3%. So it's quite clearly it's not about disparity.
My response would be to Judith that...
Just remember though, what is it? Statistics, damn lies, and whatever that saying is. When we heard about the, Seymour said something like the I can't remember the number, so forgive me, but the teachers have had a 14%, or the nurses have had a 14% increase in the last 2 years. And we're a bit like, really? That's really good. And then when we found out from the union, that didn't even get them to parity of 1985 levels. So they kind of need about 30% to catch up. So when these guys go, look, they've had 2.8%, it should be 2%. Were they 10% behind? I don't know this, but if they were 10% behind, then 2.3 is not enough because they're still behind. So just always be careful with those numbers, that we find out exactly what they mean and how they slide in. And that's why we have people like Barb Edmonds on, and Craig Rennie, who will be with us, I'm sure, this week. And if not, he's got his own thing going on.
It's actually about the patients, not about politics.
This striking nurse just wants to keep the public safe.
If we're short-staffed, we can't give the patients the care that they deserve and the time that they deserve.
Collins has specifically called out the Secondary Teachers Union.
When we see the request to the Education Minister, the first thing on the agenda is to talk about Gaza or Palestine, Palestine rather than actually about teachers or about student achievement. It sort of tells me...
I can see you bubbling. Wait. Wow, I can see you bubbling.
Lie.
I can see you bubbling. I can see you bubbling. Wait.
That they're not really that interested in the things that people would expect them to be.
The Minister's own office said we don't want to talk about terms and conditions. They actually cancelled the meeting before we even gave any agenda items. So Palestine was on the agenda, but along with NCA changes, AI marking and curriculum.
Thursday will be the fourth school day some students have lost to teachers' strikes in just over 2 months.
Do you feel like you might be losing parents' sympathy on this issue?
I understand parents aren't happy. It does create disruption. But when parents are communicating with me, yeah, sure, they'll say, hey...
Here's the thing, though. Talk to 100 parents from 100 different schools, the majority of them have got the teachers back. So government, you're wrong. You're basically saying, you guys are not servicing the community well enough, and the community's going, hey, government, we support the teachers. Hey, government, we support the nurses. Hey, government, we support the doctors. So you're using us as an excuse as to push these guys down and push them away. We're en masse. Obviously, there's going to be one ACT voter who's not, but en masse, the community is on their side. So you're telling us how bad this is for families. En masse, families are saying we support the teachers. That's the problem here.
We're not happy about the strike action, but we agree with your goals.
Confident the public are on their side as the government renews its plea.
I think get back to the bargaining table.
While warning the country doesn't have the means to meet every demand.
Sorry, Chewy. Apparently, Judith Collins says that we don't have the need to meet all the demands. That's interesting.
Look, the money will be found because it has to be found.
And again,
so it's it's a lot of money, but it's needed.
There you go. So it's needed. It will be found. It's going to be found. Oh my God! That's a new look for Judith?
Yeah, it's from her dating profile. Look, I want to talk about the Palestine thing, because this is so clearly dirty politics and is so clearly a beat up. They asked the PPTA to put through things that they wanted to talk about that weren't paying conditions. What are the other things that you might want to bring up?
Yeah.
And so Palestine was one of those things. As was mentioned, AI marking, all of these other things that they have a concern about. And she has cherry-picked that list to make it seem like they're going on strike for Palestine.
Yeah, 100%.
This is just such an outright attempt to lie to voters, to lie to taxpayers about what this is about, and drag the unions and the teachers into the muck with it. Now, I want to put this in the context of the other things that Judith Collins, Erica Stanford, Simeon Brown, and all of them have lied about as well. Every time they have mentioned an average wage for these people that are going into their pay negotiations, they have lied about that every time. They have lied about the fact that it is just about money. They will consistently bring it back to money and not mention conditions. Having enough support, having enough staff, not having to work in rotting facilities. All of these things are part of that negotiation as well. And the fact that they're throwing out Judith Collins here, one of, and it's hard to say this, the least likable people that the Nats have to front foot this.
That's an interesting list, though.
It is an interesting list. Like, they could have sent out Luxon, but they're like, no, send out someone more likable. Send out Judith. Fuck me. They're trying to stir up the parents against the teachers, and it is not working, and it's not working with the nurses either, because the public know how hard these people work, and they know they get dicked around on pay because they are a state employee. So it's bullshit. It's bullshit and lies.
Hey, Whānau, it's been there's been a couple of long chats tonight, but I think it's been incredibly essential. It's essential broadcasting tonight. Look, I do actually want to fall back on that idea of it's important to stand up to bullies, and the person whose name Voldemort, we'll call him Voldemort, is a complete bully. And he is. Every time he speaks to someone who he disagrees with, he shouts them down and shouts over them. And when he speaks to someone he agrees with, he
funnily enough, always women.
Yeah, true. And there's a time and point where you gotta kick the bully in the nuts, so to speak. Hey, thank you for being with us tonight. Appreciate it. There is a lot going on this week because, of course, there is the mega strike, mega on Thursday. And I'm sure we'll be covering that over the next few nights as well. If you have just joined us, you're one of the 635 people watching right now. Ooh. And you haven't yet voted for us at the New Zealand Podcast Awards, the QR code above us here, that will take you to the Podcast Award Listeners' Choice section category. And all you need to do is nominate us, BHN, Big Hairy News, and tell us where you are watching or listening to us. And so I guess rather than just putting YouTube, you should probably put down the actual URL of the YouTube channel, which is the @ Big Hairy Network. And other than that, obviously Apple and Spotify and any of those places as well. I think that's about it for me, Chewy. This is actually not. I mean, we often go to 2 hours on a Monday. That's not too bad for us. Anything else you wanna throw in there? Yeah, you're freaking me the shit out, man. You really need this?
I was going to put up the very mean GIF that the Discord community made for you.
Oh dear. What have they done?
Oh, I don't know how this is going to turn out because it's quite small.
The thing about those eyes, all I could think of is that's really good resolution, whatever that image is, because I'm a nerd. You got very close in. There was no distortion there at all. It's all right. Shall we take your time? There's nothing
I just want to open the link, and it's there. We go.
Yeah,
there we go. It is very small.
Oh yeah, that was thanks to Karen.
That's good.
Oh, right. Who did that? They're banned. Who was it? Who made it? Who put it up there? They're banned. They're gone.
No, I'll protect my sources.
Okay, fair enough. All right, team. Is there anything else we got to get in the chats about? Anything in the chats we got to get? Oh, there's a couple of starred ones there. Arvid says, here's a benefit. Chronic says, here's my benefit. You're now government funded. That's one of the most fabulous things overall. This is the hypocrisy. Like, there's one thing I didn't play. I think this is actually what set him off, Dewey. Can I just, we're not going to go back into this conversation, but I didn't play what I think actually set him off. I think what set him off, and there were people alleging perhaps consumption was going on, just a rumor. I have no evidence of that. I think this is what set him off, because what he's been talking about the whole time is free speech, free speech, free speech, free speech, free speech, free speech. And what I did was I went back and found a little clip that he had made about halal kiwi. And this is the hypocrisy of the man. And I put it out so people could see it for themselves. When he called for government regulation of speech he didn't agree with.
Halal kiwi has done something I think incredibly disturbing for New Zealand.
They've done a list of companies that support Israel or that want to further Israel's war or their genocide. Incredibly disturbing.
Incredibly disturbing.
Incredibly disturbing.
It is now publishing a boycott list of what it calls Zionist building.
My gosh.
Zionist businesses in New Zealand, telling users what products and companies to boycott based on whether or not they are connected
to
Zionism. And as much
is using his free speech, Chewy, and saying we should avoid these companies. And he's about to tell us that this person had no reach whatsoever and made no impact. But this is a time when Plunket still thought government regulation should stop halal kiwi speech.
Much as this website, Halal Kiwi, has absolutely no reach.
No reach. They're not
the guy who's a computer programmer, his only advertiser is himself. It's a moment, and it's a bit pathetic. It's a bit rabbit hole radio-ish, really. But I think the trend that it might suggest is really concerning. And gosh, this probably goes against my basic philosophy. I think this is a point where regulation and authorities do need to step in and say, no, you cannot do this. We cannot live in a country where you suggest boycotting or damaging people commercially because of their faith.
So I think that's what sent him over the top, because the hypocrisy is laid bare. Tuiasa Arvia, is that a poet's name? David Farrar. People should, he said, people should dob in David Farrar so America deports him because of things David Farrar? Yeah, Farrar. Sorry, Farrar. Apologies. That's wrong. I would like to offer a retraction and an apology for my misinformation. So it's just laid bare. And sometimes you got to kick the bully in the nuts. It's just got to be done. Anyway, we're finished with that. Yeah, I got that. Thanks, Ibo. I was just thinking that as I said it. Farrar. Yep, Farrar. Yep, Farrar. Yep, Farrar. Yep. And as people are now saying, how do we get our hands on that Zionist list? I don't know. Look up Halal Kiwi. All right, Chewbacca. I think it's time for us to toddle off to our separate bedrooms tonight. We'll make sure make sure because you're in your mum's basement and I'm in my mum's basement. My mum's basement would be technically about 9 feet underground right now, which is kind of a sad thing to think out loud, but technically.
I'm going to go into the rest of the house that I own.
Right.
And then probably go to bed in a big grown-up bed with my wife.
See, that's the difference between me and you. I get into a racing car bed. That's what I do.
Yeah. Because of my sickness benefit, I have to go to work tomorrow.
You have to go and be sick. When you're on a sickness, you have to go somewhere and be sick to be. No.
I love it. It's all so unimaginative. And the thing about an insult is when it's absolutely not true, it does nothing. I don't care. Laugh it up.
And that's why everything we've said tonight will bother him, because it's pretty much all true. And if it's not true, it touches close enough to the bone using the medium of comedy and mirth that it will still annoy him. All right, team. Thanks for being with us tonight. Lovely to be back with you on a Monday night. Now, next Monday is public holiday, isn't it? It's October. It's Labor Day. So
Labor Day.
Yeah, sure.
For the workers.
Next week. Yeah, for the workers. And of course, this Thursday, big massive protest. I was thinking we should, if we can, maybe we should put out there some information as to how people can connect with other various, like we do our own No Kings map, but do it for things. Hello, dog. What you doing? Lie on your mat. You just turned up. I should probably share the dog, or else people will be upset. 2 minutes, love. Oh, no, the dog's going because there's other people downstairs. All right, guys, that'll do us. We're out of here, and we'll catch you tomorrow night.
Help us settle a debate, whether it be thoughtful or funny, even if we're all creatures of hate. It's a fine line that we're walking together. For better, push aside the temptation to berate. Let's take a note of the corners we stand in. As many points as the hairs on my chinny chin chin. When the news that we're watching is hairy, knowing all the things that we need to be wary of. Like the rich have their hand out for rewards.
She's left, sorry, citizen.
And the rest of us ain't paying attention, or maybe have questions we're too worried to mention. Other media is still dwelling on trivial facts, vetting peas from the rice and the mice from the rats, and picking and choosing a war path to run, and linking ourselves with the hill to die on. It's gotta come down to a welcoming vibe, with an A and a self and a higher in mind. All have a lean either this way or that, and will be analyzed by both Chewy and Pat. With the evil in the world trying to mess with your head, and you're sitting on the couch, you're thinking chivalry's dead. Each night, 2 nights, they're gonna sing you to bed.
All right, whānau, we'll catch you tomorrow night from 9 o'clock. Anything to wrap up with, Chewy? We all done?
I will fight Sean Plunket on the beaches, on the landing fields, in the streets. We will never surrender.
We will catch you tomorrow night from 9 p.m. for the next edition of Big Hairy News. Hooroo.
Cheers, fam.